So the landscape effect is when you take them from their world into your world, and you're going to create a solution frame now. When you walk out of the door, you have an idea of what you want to have happen today. I want to go and present before the county, the government, the state, the federal group, and I want these people to give me $100,000, $1 million, and I want to close the deal, and I don't want to have to work hard. That's what we want to do. Meanwhile, the government's like, we have to pretend like we work for a living, okay? So we have to come up with all these reasons to not do business with Dan. Because the more reasons we come up with, the easier it is for us to justify our income. So we have a different frame of mind or a different point of view on what Dan's goal is for us. Dan's already figured out what he wants us to do. He wants to get rid of all the hazardous waste materials off of the land. He wants to be able to develop it. He wants to get a developer to come in. He wants to be able to, he's got all this stuff already figured out. He already knows what the government needs to do. But the government, of course, doesn't have a clue what they should do, because that's why they work for the government. Anybody work for the government in here, by the way? So anyway, so we come up with all these reasons. We've got the budget, and we've got to know. And it's like, Dan, I don't know if we got the money to do this. Or the woman could actually sit there and say to you something crazy like, Dan, you don't know what you're talking about. I have a bachelor's degree, Dr. Young. I went to school. So Dad has to sit there and not insult her intelligence, but still show her how to add. Okay? And that's what he does. He does all that work, but he slowly takes them from their landscape onto his landscape. Doesn't just go boom, present it right away. So we create a solution frame which is in between the two things. Their frame is, I want to have a request for proposal, and I want to be able to have certain criteria met, and I've got to bid out with another company, and we've got to get this approved by all these different people, and all this stuff has to happen. Meanwhile, Dan's already solved the problem. He's already done dozens and dozens of hours of work on the project long before he goes to make the sale to get the job for his company. And so Mark, he's got it figured out. He's already got the solution frame, but he can't go in there with the solution frame as his frame of mind when he walks in the door, because that would make him right and her wrong. Okay? It would make him right and her wrong. So he has to create a third frame, or a third position, if you will, like in the old NLP world. So basically, there's Dan's what he wants, which is ultimately what's going to happen. His position, his point of view, his solution has to be better than anything the government could come up with. But he's going to be able to succeed at this. So now he creates a third frame. And the third frame is this. He looks at the woman and he says, what does this woman really want out of this? She wants to not look stupid before the people that make the decision with her, right? That's the whole thing in business and in life. There's Dan's solution, there's what the government's going to want to do, and then there's the way that Dan is going to give the woman what she needs as she's representing herself in this. What does she not want to have happen? The woman doesn't want to have her people in her office look at her that she made a dumb decision by doing business with Dan. That's so important. That is a different position that salespeople don't think about, that marketers don't think about, that in any influence situation, we don't think about that. What do you really want out of the situation? You want the business, but you don't have to be right to get it. So instead of trying to figure that out, how are you going to make that person, how are you going to make her right at the end of the day? How do you make her correct? That's the position you want. So what is it that she's going to do? She's got, just like you and I all have Rolodexes of people in our brain that we have to answer to. So if I go and if somebody says, hey, Kev, would you do a joint venture with me? How many people here read Coffee with Kevin Hogan? Anybody? 2/3. Okay, so Coffee with Kevin Hogan, not a bad publication, comes out every week, has for 12 years. It's a lot of work, tired of it. Okay, 600 issues. All right, hydrocodone, it really does work. Okay, so every week it comes out. I get probably 30 requests a week for people to put something in coffee. How often do you see somebody else's stuff in coffee? A couple times a year, right? 3 times a year. But, I don't know, ballpark, about 1,500 people a year asked to have space in coffee. Can we buy advertising? No, I like my people. It's like, they're smart people. You're not, so no, the answer's no. Okay, this is a good group of people. So I sit there and I think, what is Hing gonna think if he sees me promoting this person over here and they're only average? So the third frame, that third position is super important. How are you going to make this person so they feel good in this? This is not about benefits, okay? Benefits are nice, okay? What's the benefit that you get from this, okay? Well, here's the deal. Julie's up there, she's buying real estate up in Vancouver, and you don't sit there and think, what's the benefit that my customer is going to get out of it? She has one thing she's got to think about. She's got to think, how am I going to make the other person not feel stupid for doing business with me? That's the first thing. Ultimately, it's the only thing. Because if you can't get past that resistance, and that's what's there, man, if you're going to look stupid for doing business with somebody, you're just not going to. The benefits don't matter. The features don't matter. None of that stuff matters. What matters is, don't make me look dumb for having done business with you. That's where it begins. That's the third frame. So my job really isn't to try to sell my product. My job is to talk to Richard and say, so what is it really that you don't want to have happen here? But I can't ask you that question because nobody thinks like that out there in the real world. But that's really what we ultimately want to know. So I have to figure it out. I have to figure out who's in your Rolodex. Okay, who's in the Rolodex in your head that when you think about it and you're going to talk to those people about the deal that you're about to make later on, who are you going to look stupid from if you're making a stupid decision? That's what I need to know as the person who's selling a product to you or selling a service to you, whatever it is. That's what I got to know. And as soon as I know who you're going to look dumb to, now I know exactly what I'm going to communicate in my message, because now I know what your criteria is for making the right decision. Really is we just don't want to make a mistake, right? Is that what you not find, Dan, most of the time? You just don't want to let that person end up looking bad to somebody. That's the whole deal right there. You can come back tomorrow. That's the key thing here. Now,